Hey everybody, Gisele Grenier here. In this video, I'm going to be creating a piece of artwork on one of the Book of Backgrounds pieces. So this is background number 2, and I love, love, love. It's not finished on the back. I wrote Bob 2A. And what I want to try to do with this one, and this was inspired, I was inspired by one of my students. I'm going to call you out, Debbie. And Debbie is more into doing the fine art stuff, and she's come a long way. But she's inkling a little bit, just a little bit, to try some mixed media. So what I thought I would do is create a project for her with stuff that I know she would have. And, you know, and if she wouldn't have it, not to go to any great expense to buy it, because the stuff you can pick up at the dollar store. But I'm thinking, just look under your sofa cushions. You'll probably find these things. It's to create, basically, the background is just with paint. No big deal, right? Well, the process that I go through is you create your background, then you pick your focal point, you pick your embellishments, you do all this stuff. But what about just using something as simple as just buttons? And different buttons, but create a little composition. And then I'm going to show basically taking a piece to frame a corner. And if you don't have something like that, you can easily make yourself out of a piece of cardboard. All right, so this is what I have here, and I want to change the color up a little bit. I mean, I like this. I like the rose gold in here. I want to just deepen the corners a little bit, and I think I'm going to flip it this way, because this is now this is the dry fit piece. So this is what I'm looking at doing. Just buttons, nothing fancy, just buttons. And this button I picked up at the dollar store. It's a wooden button, so you can paint it. So that's what I'm going to be doing with that. I'm going to be painting that one. And then I found this little corner piece, which is great for framing. And it's just a chipboard cutout. If you don't have something like that, just take a piece of cardboard and just cut a little corner. Or just tear a piece of cardboard so it's even more dynamic, which is what I'm going to do. Okay, so the paints I'm going to be using, very simple, titanium white, phthalo blue, and phthalo green blue. And I'm thinking now with what I wanted to do with this, these are probably not the right colors to be using. Let's see what happens. So let's put these out on the palette. I'm thinking now, no, these are not the colors I want to be using. But sometimes I have to find that I need to stick to my original plan. And with all of these here, this one here shouldn't be too heavy. Some of the ones that I created with the heavy washers that I picked up at the hardware store, the cardboard bent. This is 140-pound watercolor paper. It's still not strong enough, so I will glue that onto a piece of cardboard backing to make it thicker. No point in doing it now because it may be fine. I've got a little sponge here I'm going to use to pick up my colors. What I want to do is I want to make kind of like a cerulean blue mix. And cerulean blue, you can buy it, but I like making my own with phthalo blue, a little bit of, let me try that again. I like making my own cerulean blue because true cerulean blue is very expensive, with phthalo blue and phthalo green blue. Take a little bit of white in there, not too much. And these, the Deco Media Fluid acrylics, most of them are all either transparent or semi-transparent. Like the white is opaque, but it's not really 100% opaque, which makes it nice for this. So what I'm looking for is to frame this corner. And just do a bit of a dry rub, and then go to the other side and just wipe it off. And what it's doing is it's sticking to the pieces of the paper that had the acrylics. It's not sticking to the metallics, it's sticking to the pieces that are the acrylics. And I just want to do a bit of a frame, light, and use the other side to wipe it back. You can use a baby wipe as well. Cosmetic sponges you can pick up at the dollar store. I'm just doing a frame. Now let's try that. So with this piece here, oh, and I want to do a shout out to Joe. I was buying my Huggies in individual little packages, and he found this box of Huggies either at Fortino's or some other store. Big box of Huggies for $17, so he bought it for me. But it's in this crinkly stuff. It's a little bit noisy. what I was really doing was just buying time to let this dry a little bit more. And I can take this and just come in. See, a little bit comes off. And the longer that you keep moisture on here, the easier it is to remove. I don't want to remove it all though. See, it's just a little bit. Now, if you created your book of backgrounds using the DecoArt metallic luster, my mouth is rented today, they will come off because it is water soluble until you actually buff it and then you seal it. There we go. Just removing just a little bit. And now I can put a little bit more pressure on there. See, just a little bit more. Let me go to another part so you can see how much more is coming off. What I'm doing is really rubbing over the areas where the metallics are, because that's what's coming off. There we go. Love that. Well, that wasn't, oh, in the water. That's unfortunately a waste. What I will do, oh, I don't have, let me do this. There we go. That'll stay wet to the next project. Okay, so now simple. We're just going to glue the stuff down. And to glue the stuff down, you can use matte medium, you can use school glue, you can whatever. My idea is if you want, think about where you want your artwork in about 20 years to determine whether you want to use some DIY supplies versus art supplies. Because I'm gifting these, I'm going to be using art supplies. But if you're just making this for fun and you really aren't going to be giving them away, doesn't matter if they last, whatever, then you can use like school glue or whatever. Ideally if it's transparent. And I want to, here we go. I'm going to take a brush and I put some matte medium on there. Anything matte medium over metallics, it's going to alter the finish. But I'm just thinking now I should be using a thicker glue. Okay, I'm gonna have to come back around with this. What I do know is hot glue doesn't work with what I'm doing here, not with these buttons. I'm gonna have to come around to put a little bit of adhesive inside, in between. This will all dry clear. And what's nice is I'm making a mess. What's nice about this is that it remains movable. So just putting some buttons in here, and I'm going to put another one right in the middle. A little bit offset. And then what I'm going to do, and I should have did that, I should have done this first. And I'm going to take, oh my goodness, just any metallic paint. And I'm just going to give this a bit of a coat. This is the DecoArt Metallics. This is patina, I believe. Dark patina. And this won't take long to dry at all. Yeah, but yeah, I should have did this first because now I'm going to have paint all over my fingers. Well, you know what? What's art unless you're messy? What's art unless you're messy? Get rid of the hole there. There we go. That's what baby wipes are for. And I'm on the 9-minute and 45 second spot, so I want to make sure I get these all done in under 15 minutes. And just putting it on the back. There's no paint on the back, so it'll be fine. And this little doodad right here. And I got paint in there. So it's going to clean up the edge a bit. I could, in here, put some little beads and stuff, which might be pretty. Well, whoever wins this is going to get some of my DNA because I just spit on this. Oh, isn't that nasty? Okay, tell me. I'd like to show of hands of who has never spit on their artwork. You know what's bad when you spit on a drawing? Then it's not usable anymore. Let that dry. That goes in water. Now I want to get a piece of cardboard. And I want to get the piece on the back. So let me just make a little, cut that out. That's from packaging. It's already one-sided. So I want to make it where it's, and pull it towards you if you want the edge showing. So you can put a little piece like that. You can also paint it, leave it blank, but ideally, you know, that just makes a nice little frame. Then you can put a little sentiment in there. And you can take little pieces. Like I said, you can just put something in there just to create a little corner piece. It just helps frame everything. But if you want to put a larger sentiment, you can use this whole area right here for that. And I have a box here with those. And I mean, even if you don't want to put a sentiment on there, you can just put some letters. You know, just grab, you know, put some letters. Oh, I like that. On. I've got some quotes. Painting is silent poetry, and poetry is painting that speaks. Not enough room there. So give me a second. Let me find something here to put there, and then we'll move on. So I came up with 4 different things that you can do. So of course, putting this little chipboard piece here, which is what I'm going to do. Then I picked out these. You can put on. You can, you know, whatever letters. You know, these are ones from Tim Holtz, but that doesn't mean you have to use them. You can just stamping, stenciling, cut letters out of the magazine. No big deal. And then we talked about, you know, putting some, you know, just torn pieces of cardboard, which will, you know, frame this area. But another thing is putting a quote. So what it is, I've got my planner that I use every day is a Desire Map Planner, the Desire Planner from Danielle Laporte. And in the corners, you rip off the tabs when the day is completed. And one of these is Radiant. So you can take an existing quote. Then you can handwrite, use your computer to type it up in your pretty font and that. And then you can just glue that. Right, I'm not going to use this one, but you can use that. Because I want to leave this open for Debbie to put whatever, you know. Not for Debbie to put this, I'm giving this away. But the idea that you can leave it blank if you're giving it away for somebody else to put their own sentiment on there. But you can finish it, the edges off with really anything you want. And I'm going to paint this as well. And I'm going to paint it with this patina color as well, but I'm going to hit that patina color with, use this one, with a little bit of the blue. A little bit of the blue. Come on. I really need to unclog that. Making it more of a blue metallic. Whoopsie. Whoopsie. And pick up a bit more of the green. Just go on the edge and just kind of go over that. We have a bit of a pattern there. All right, I'm going to hit this with the heat gun. So you can see that this is a very, very simple little artist training card using just stuff you can find around the house. So hopefully, Debbie, you'll be inspired, and anyone else out there too, to be inspired on using something you find around the house. You don't have to go out and spend a ton of money, you know, at the art store to make stuff. And I'm just going to go around, and I'm just going to kind of put a little bit of this matte medium just all over, just to kind of blend the texture. Oops, to show the texture that's not dry yet. I'm going to let this sit for a good day before I even do anything with it. but just pushing the matte medium just on the edges will create that seal. There we go. So what I'm going to be doing is, so when this is dry, I'm going to finish the video now. But what I want to ask you, there is a giveaway for this, but what I want to ask you is, when you're creating your own artist trading card piece, do you find that you're more creative when you're using non-art stuff when you're creating your pieces? So using buttons, washers, anything that's really not art specific, not designed for art. Do you feel more creative with those, or do you feel more creative actually going to the art store, buying a bunch of stuff off the shelf and using those? Which way inspires more creativity with you? So answer below, and what's going to happen in 2 weeks, Joe's going to be calling out a number. I'm going to count down the comments, and whoever lands on that comment will be winning this piece. But what I'm going to be doing is, if I know who you are, I'm going to be customizing a sentiment here for you. If I don't know who you are, it'd be more of a generic sentiment, but I'm going to be putting a sentiment in here specifically for whoever wins this piece. Alrighty, so comment below. Let's get this going. And don't forget to join the community that I created. I shut down the Facebook group. I created a community which is private, no advertising, none of the drama of that social media. So you can share your pictures in there if you create something based on this design. And we've got some really interesting things and giveaways going on in there as well. All right, so until I see you in the next video, and good luck with whoever wins this, stay inspired.